The pros. Dock makes app switching easier. App Spaces refines multitasking, supports growing number of augmented reality apps. Notes got even better. App Store comes alive. The cons. Some bugs from beta remain, still no default app selector. Verdict. iOS 11 is a major step forward for the iPad, turning the tablet into a much more capable device with its desktop-class tools and tricks. After iOS 10 focused mostly on improving the iPhone, iOS 11 flips the script and gives iPad users something to talk about. Its new dock and multitasking tricks may take some getting used to, but the combination of a new Files app and an upgraded Notes means this year's update seriously improves your slate. Supercharged multitasking. iOS 11 makes it easier to get work done on the iPad by enabling better multitasking. After mastering a small learning curve, even a novice can become a pro user. The first thing you'll notice in iOS 11 is that there's a macOS-esque dock for apps at the bottom of the screen, replacing the opaque tray from preceding versions. Both may be a row of icons, but the dock changes a lot of the fundamentals of how you multitask on an iPad. Make sure to stock the dock with all the apps you love, as that's where you find apps to place in split view mode. To use another app without leaving your current apps, just drag another icon up from the dock, and drop it onto the dividing line. This can be visualized easily in the new App Switcher mode, which you open by double-clicking the Home button or swiping strongly from the bottom edge of the screen. Here, you'll see 4 app spaces, along with the Control Center button. Swipe away from the Control Center, and you'll see 6 app spaces. Back in iOS 10, apps wouldn't stick to each other and required repairing, while iOS 11's approach is more similar to how the full-screen spaces work on macOS. In the App Switcher window, you'll also find the new Control Center, a customizable set of buttons for options that include AirPlay mirroring, alarms and screen recording. You add and subtract from this grid of buttons in the Settings app. Most iPads don't have a large enough screen for a full keyboard with all the punctuation keys, so Apple introduced a trick called QuickType. In the middle of an on-screen keyboard click, before you remove your finger from the screen, you can drag your finger upward to use a secondary key. There you'll easily find such as the numerals from 0 to 9 and special characters such as hash and $. ARKit, a solid start. Another perk of updating to iOS 11 is that Apple's ARKit development tools will make it easier for all of your favorite apps to get new augmented reality tricks. It will also open up the door to a new breed of AR apps. You don't even need the latest iPad to experience these AR apps, just iOS 11 and a tablet with an A9 or later processor. If the handful of apps released so far are any indication, AR will be fun on iOS. Security. iOS 11 doesn't just give your iPad new powers, it also helps batten down the security hatches. The update includes patches to 8 vulnerabilities, including some that allowed attackers to trick users into unintentionally visiting websites or even erasing a device. System requirements. iOS 11 supports the iPad Mini 2 and later, all iPad Airs and iPad Pros, and the 5th generation iPad. For me, this update will force the question of upgrading, as it's the first that my personal iPad, the 4th generation model, doesn't support. Also, iOS 11 doesn't support 32-bit apps, which means that older programs that haven't been updated in years will not cross over once you upgrade. If your iPad is running iOS 10.3 or later, you can check to see if you've got any 32-bit apps installed by opening the Settings app, tapping General, tapping About and tapping Applications. If you can get iOS 11 on your iPad, install it soon. But plan for time to become familiar with its new multitasking methods, as it takes a short while to get used to. Once you've learned its ins and outs, you'll find your iPad to be an even more valuable productivity tool than ever before.